Welcome back to Gearwire.com. I'm Owen O'Malley, and we are continuing our look at the multi-talented Peavey Vypyr amps. We looked at the effects sections and the amp modeling options in our first video, and now we're going to take a look at the other half of the front control panel, which includes the master output section, the EQ settings, and also access to the individual effect parameters editing. So by default, this section over here is basically our amp controls. We've got a pre-gain, our 3-band EQ here, low, mid, high, and a post-gain. Let's just listen to, let's listen to the Plexi. We'll put it into high gain mode, and we'll turn the gain down here, and you can kind of get a sense of the variety of gain tone. Now you'll notice when I switch between channels on the amp, the EQ settings are different. So you really have different EQ setting for each channel. So you've got 24 different EQ settings. It's nice if you want to switch between amps, and well, it's just nice to have those EQs preset for each channel on each amp. Now if we click on, let's say, the effect button for editing, now the function of these buttons corresponds to the labels below. So we've got parameters 1 and 2 for the effects. Let's select an effect here so we can hear. Here's the phaser on the effect side. Modulation effects, it's basically parameter 1 is usually speed, parameter 2 is usually depth. And it's also how you access the delay and the reverb. So let's bring up the reverb level. Okay, bring that back down. And let's bring up the delay level. We can adjust the feedback on the delay. And we've got a tap tempo here. So that's how you edit all the effects and the different amp settings there. Over here, all the way to the right, we've got our master volume. And then right here, we've got our auxiliary section. There's an auxiliary input, and there's also a recording output and a headphone output there. So you can use this amp as a recording amp. So now we were looking at the front panel of the Vypyr 30 before. Now we're looking at the front panel of the Vypyr 75, which adds two things. It adds, well, other than 45 watts of power, it adds a USB recording output here. So now this amp becomes a USB recording interface for your guitar. And it also adds this thing right here, which is a power sponge. And the power sponge basically simulates lower wattage being delivered to the power section. So it's basically not sagging tubes, but you can kind of decrease the perceived power being supplied to the power section. Let's listen to what that sounds like. So now, first we've got the power sponge at 100%. Now let's decrease it here. A very subtle difference. It almost just affects the perceived loudness, but it's simulating a lower power supply to the same power section. So that's the only thing. Those are the only two things that the Peavey 75 adds over the 30. except for wattage, obviously. So here's the Vypyr 75 in all its glory. As you can see, compared to the 30 here, slightly bigger, much more powerful. That wasn't just a perspective thing. We're also going to take a look at the Tube 60, the Tube Vypyr 60 in another video. And then in yet another video, we're going to take a look at the Sanpara control pedals that we've been using for all these demos to switch between presets and to turn the volume up and down. So till next time, you've been watching Gearwire.com, and I'm Owen O'Malley. Stick around.